welcome to another episode of Brunch with me, Ellen Ep2. We've always heard that purpose is an alarm that will not go off. It's a statement that, we love throwing around, and it makes for good quotations on our Facebook and our Instagram pages. But what does it really mean? Well, if you don't know what it means or you are conflicted about it, you are in good company. A lot of people don't really know what their purpose in life is. So to help us unpack this subject, I've invited in the studio an acclaimed purpose coach. His name is Tendayi Mashingaidze. He is the founder of Greenstone. Tendayi, welcome to the show.
Thanks,
it's good to have you, finally.
Finally, how are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Good.
Okay, so let's get into it. Purpose.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Purpose is not something that is crazy,
yeah.
Like you said. It's an alarm clock. It really speaks to the reason for existence. Why are you here?
Yeah.
Whilst you're here, what are you doing? What are you doing it for? What does it give you? A lot of work has gone into understanding purpose.
Yeah.
Even when I went through my journey, it was about the energy around you. In 1925, quantum physics became a big thing.
Yeah.
It was all about the energy around people. And purpose really brings up the energy around people. And if you and me know our purpose, we can then put that energy together and help, the nations or whatever else, needs our existence or our help in terms of going forward.
All right. So tell me about the birth of Greenstone and what you do as a purpose coach. This is the first time I'm hearing about purpose coaching.
So there are many coaches.
Yeah.
They're called life experience coaches, and we have to obviously put a name or a title to something. But what I really do is to meet people who have got different views in life, different values, different personalities. And one thing that happens is that you find them in a certain career, in a certain job space that they feel they don't belong in, and yet they should be doing something else. So what Greenstone has done is actually find a way to decipher and to break down what it is that a person enjoys doing and what they are about. So a couple of years ago, I joined the RMS Christmas Cheer Fund and I became the chairman. There were 20 kids that were going to school. Then we were supporting them. And because they didn't have a brother or a friend, I became their default brother, the chairman. They could call me, they could speak to me anytime. However, as I went through that journey and I learned about their stories, their deep stories, I realized that a lot of our society does not support what the children or the kids would want to do from an early on age. And therefore we devised a system to come up with that.
Okay. All right. And at what point in life should one seek the service of a purpose coach?
So I think our parents should actually be purpose coaches.
Okay.
Yeah.
How
because
so?
they should understand what their kids like. So I will tell you the steps in the process that we take as Greenstone, so that at least you understand what the work we're doing. So there are 4 A's which we focus on. Firstly, awareness. Are you aware of what you're doing? Are you aware of your environment and how you've grown up, and what does that mean for you? Secondly, acceptance. Do you accept the fact that where you are is where you want to be, or where you don't want to be in Zimbabwe? But you have to make a choice.
Yeah.
So it's very important. Then you take accountability. You have to take accountability of your choices and then what you're doing, right? And then you take action. So those are the 4 A's. So within this framework is work that we have to do over a period of at least 6 months for you to start a journey. Remember, purpose is a journey. And I want to say this, purpose is no politics. Purpose is all about you and all about what you feel and what you like to do.
Okay. You're coming from the corporate sector. How do you marry that, finding your purpose and being in a job environment?
Yeah, very difficult to match the two, and you bring about the element of career. So I said politics, does not exist in purpose.
Yeah.
Career, there's lots of politics there. Now let's go a bit and touch on career. If you look at how we were socialized, the career part says that we have to go to school and we have to become
you get your degree,
you have to become a doctor,
teacher.
What is the most famous question you've been asked what do you want to be when you grow up?
Exactly.
At a very early age.
Yeah.
What do you know about,
what you want to be?
What you want to be at that age? You've seen your mother coming in or your dad coming in, and maybe they're a nurse or they're a soldier or whatever it is, and all of a sudden you start gravitating towards that. But that's not you. That is not what you are about. And therefore it's so crucial for us to be able to identify what it is that you are about at a very early age. And it starts with our parents fostering, supporting us, and putting us in a place where we understand our talents and our skills. Now, on career side, that is a systematic design of how you work through a system. It requires politics, it requires you being accepted, whereas purpose, you don't have to be accepted. You do what you need and what you want to do and what gives you happiness.
So Tendayi, there are things that we are all passionate about, but some of those things don't pay the bills. How do you merge your passion, the purpose, so that it pays your bills?
So Ellen, that's a good question. And let me start by saying well done to you, because you've started your show.
Thank you.
That's your purpose, and it's then your career. So if we look at the two, you're talking about career and purpose. We say that in purpose there's no politics, but the career is politics, because at a young age we are conditioned or socialized to be in certain jobs. Again, what do you want to be when you grow up is a key question that comes up all the time.
And most of the answers we don't know. And as children we start feeling like we're so behind because we don't know.
Yeah, but would the teacher or your mother accept that you don't know?
No, so you just pick the next thing that comes to mind.
You see, so in the end you become a doctor, you become a pilot, you become an engineer, you become things that you're actually not aware of. Many doctors right now should not actually be doctors.
So easy, they don't even like the sight of blood.
Exactly. So it is all about, then this is the career design where I'm talking about this whole politics and a lack of understanding. So an example would be, if a child wants to be a person who's able to speak to the world and bring a voice to the world, right? That is a purpose, right? And therefore that purpose needs to be nurtured on the career side. If our curricula at a very young age says that there is broadcasting services, and let's say even Form 1, when you come in, that child can quickly identify that, this is what I want to do, and I want to go all the way up to varsity with that in mind. And already they're happy, they've got energy, and they're driving. Now the difference is that the person will do engineering or they'll do IT, and then they'll want to end up in this career. There's a mismatch there.
Tendayi, you mentioned the issue of socialization. That comes, first socialization of a child is within the family. And sometimes, we're coming from these families that are set in their ways and changing. So how then does one break away from that to coming to a point where they then really discover who they are inside and what they want to do, to finding their true purpose in life?
Correct. So as we are growing up, we have got skills and talents. I think the parents should be the first purpose coaches. They really need to identify what a child likes. They need to listen, they need to see. And part of what Greenstone does actually is to make sure that the parents understand how a child, how they do things. I'll give you an example. Kirsty and Tendayi, these are our big sports personalities. They still had to go to school, and after school maybe go onto the rugby field or to the swimming, to swimming, so that at least they can become these champions that they are. And then they were supported, right? So we have to identify what these children are good at and what they're about. The second thing is that, unlike on the career side, because really we're talking about purpose here, on the career side you have to invest. You actually have to invest and say, what is the path going to look like, so that at least the two can match, right? You have identified what they're about, how do you invest, and that's designing a path of investment in terms of this child, right? When you've invested there, then personal philosophies and values that the child, as they grow up, they need to understand. When they understand their own personal values and philosophies, they will stick to this path that they've chosen. And then obviously we've got to have issues around emotional intelligence, which really speaks to, our socialization. Is our society going to help emotionally guide and emotionally help, the child?
Okay. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll continue our conversation on finding your true purpose in life so that you live a more fulfilled life. Do stay tuned. We'll be back after these messages. When you find your true calling and you're walking in your path, you are living your true purpose. And you're more fulfilled and you're balanced. Welcome back. You're still watching Brunch with Ellen. All right, Tendayi, let's dive right back into when adults need to find their purpose. You can be in a job, you're unfulfilled, you're unhappy. It's a chore to wake up in the morning because you're not there. How does an adult person go back on this platform and find their purpose?
So we've devised a system where we need to identify your purpose. Now, there are two things I want to mention. The first thing is that, in a global millennial survey done, we're finding a lot of millennials who are what we call multi-potential. So they've got lots of potential. They could end up doing a lot of things in their life, and that's okay. So when it comes to an adult right now who's unfulfilled, the steps for us are simple. You go into the 4 A's which I spoke about. Are you aware of where you are?
Yeah.
Are you actually understanding, in terms of your surroundings, in terms of what you're doing? If you're aware that you're unhappy, that's a good thing, because you've then identified that you're not happy with what you're doing. The second thing is, do you accept that you need to change what you're doing? And therefore, that acceptance allows you to go through a process of wanting to change. Then you take accountability, and accountability is saying, this is me, this is what I'm about, and I want to be better, or I want to do more, or I want to do different.
Okay, so you're saying this takes your full commitment. It might mean going back to school.
It might mean going back to school. It might mean changing everything, because the first answer I'll give you is that if you're not happy, get out. But hey, remember you've got bills to pay.
Yeah.
So therefore, we will take you through the process where you actually understand, what is happening. The last part is action, because without action, you're not going to be able to, go through this. There is energy that's required. But if your energy comes in and we're saying that we're focusing on what you want, you'll find that each and every step becomes easier. It becomes easier for you to be able to take on the task. Right. I think that is in a nutshell will help an adult with wherever they are.
All right. So as Greenstone, I know obviously you've helped to reshape purpose in people. Can you maybe take me through some of your experiences working with Zimbabweans? Yeah.
So like I said, Greenstone is really a company that is doing right now. We're doing pro bono work. We are not charging anything.
Pro bono work. I could do pro bono work.
Yeah. So really, it's unlike the coaches that you see around the country. I've had a great experience in my working career, where I've worked for many global companies who've taken me through lots of learning. And what I've discovered is that I wanted to give back. So our interaction is really based on you knowing that I was chairman of the Christmas Cheer Fund, which is great, and that's why we could talk. And what I've noticed is that in Zimbabwe, because of our career background, our socialization, sometimes we do not want to then go into this purpose discussion. But I'm finding that as the young generation comes up, they're really keen to find out what they want to do. They're really keen to change, their lifestyle, to change what they're doing. I've had many, discussions. They are one-on-one, they are small groups. I have never then had the opportunity to go into a crowd and speak about this. At some point I will, but that's not what's important to me. What's important to me and Greenstone is for us to actually fulfill my purpose. What is my purpose?
Yes. What is your purpose?
Is my purpose? Yeah. So my purpose is to unleash potential I'm a super optimist, and I'm also an idealist. I believe that, you know what, if right now you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing in terms of your purpose, you need to slightly shift and then start looking at what can give you more energy and what can create happiness in your life.
Okay. And as a purpose coach, what have you seen as the benefits of going through this process?
So, firstly for me, because then, you know, when I was growing up, I had a lot of energy. I wanted to help out people. I wanted to solve problems. But I didn't know how to do it, because you get into a situation whereby you're just telling your friend what to do, and yet they don't want your help. So by understanding how you use that energy, you know, it's so important that then you impart the right attitude, the right positive, the right environment for everybody else to thrive. So it's really about sharing energy. It's really about sharing, you know, our views with each other. And in the end, in that journey, everybody gets to a place where they can be happy and fulfilled.
Okay. Thank you, Tendayi. Thank you, Mash, for coming to the show. It's been such a pleasure for you to be here and sharing what purpose coaching is and how to get people to find out what they're meant to truly be doing with their lives.
Thank you, Ellen, and all the best.
Okay, thank you. All right, well, that brings us to the end of this episode where we're speaking about purpose, finding what you're truly passionate about and setting the path to doing that. If you're passionate about baking, if you're passionate about doing flowers, why don't you find a way of making that happen for yourself? I'm sure you will live a more fulfilled life. I'm here on Brunch with Ellen, living out my purpose. Until next time, bye. Well, that brings us to the end of our program today. What I would like to leave you with is find what you're truly passionate about. Walk on that journey and fulfill your purpose. You become more balanced. If you want to be a baker, go ahead and start baking. If you wanted to be a florist, do that. Sorry.
Oh, wow.
That
was perfect.
Actually,
huh?
that was actually cool.
Oh,
That's very
okay.
cool.
It wasn't lovely.
Yeah.
It's natural.
It wasn't camera.
Yeah.
All right, I can.
But we caught it.
Oh, okay. I'm sure Murphy will find somewhere to put it.
We catch everything.